life I deserve. Bless. Fuck a vacay, I feel better at work. I mean whatever it's worth, I give whatever I'm worth. For my niggas who gon' go to hell and back. For me, I'ma give them heaven on earth for a hell of a check, yeah, whichever come first. Blessings on blessings on blessings. Look at my life, man, that's lessons on lessons on lessons. I treat the beat like it's a reverend. I tell the truth like, Father, forgive me, these are all my confessions. Man, this wasn't luck, it was destined. I done lost homies who been with me since Ed and Eddie, who flip like confetti. And then when you back, they back to call you dog. That shit can get petty. Bitch, don't get no dap to me, nigga. Funny thing about talking behind my back is that it just keep coming back to me, nigga. Was off for a sec, now it's back to me, nigga. You mad at me? This ain't what I want, man. This what it had to be. This is that late night working after 3, man. This is why my old girl was mad at me. This why I'm your majesty, man. The click is the tightest, the pussy the tightest, the drinks are the coldest, the future the brightest, the feet not divided, the love is divided, and I just gotta thank God that we got it. Bless. I don't know what I would do without a crew. Look like we robbed a bank, but all we make is deposits. Young profit with profit, oh God. I ain't gon' say that we back or nothing, cause that implies that we're back from something. If we're back from something, it's some checks you owe us. I expect that payment, nothing less or over. I don't need them favors that you asked me for. I could give 2 fucks about where the Grammys go. I just gave out Grammys on my Instagram. Them OVO boys are business, man. It is what it is. Trust me, you get what you give.
You also use that shit.
You gotta come to my side and see how we live. Yeah. I cannot see heaven being much better than it. Yeah. Blessings on blessings for me and my niggas from the 6. Look at what we did. Yeah.
So you want to start or do I?
Good morning.
Morning.
No, I'm kidding. Hello. Welcome to 95.7 Q-Soul. Okay, I'm
Q-Soul.
I don't know. It's like mixing all this stuff together.
Welcome to 97.1 Classic Soul.
It's 42's day.
It is 42. We're actually here on a Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Rest in peace.
Who was it? Come on. Come on. Do you remember who it actually was?
Take off.
Okay. But yeah, no, we're here on Tuesday. I think that's all I got right now.
Okay. So I am a little bit melancholic, more tired than melancholic, but yeah.
Melancholic? Why are you melancholic? Or you said you're more tired than melancholic. So.
Yes, I am just very sleepy. It's cold. It's a weekday. I get tired more quickly by nighttime. So this my bedtime.
But you want to show what the shirt you got on says?
Oh, I didn't even realize that. It says, I already want to take a nap tomorrow.
This is her vibe for 4 months out of the year. If not a little bit longer. Because when it gets hot, yes, the sun's up, but the energy goes away just as fast.
No.
That's a what? Well, that's a what, old lady?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
That's a fib.
That's a fib.
Because I can't say the L word.
Damn. You can't say the L word. Why can't you say the L word?
You ain't never have a word that you not say.
No.
Yeah, no. I thought that was for the southern thing.
No.
I had to use fib. And even then, because it was the implication of lie, that didn't work either. Anyway. So, I'm going to take it easy today and discuss. God damn it, it's closed. So the books that I read last year and the books I'm excited about this year. Um, not in that order because apparently I wrote it in the opposite order. So the books that I'm excited about this year, I want to start The World Remake by N.K. Jemisin. That is the sequel to The City We Became. I also want to start Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. I found it on one of the Goodreads lists that I frequent. That being said, and I'll get to that point, but the list that everybody votes on and stuff, some of that is trash for me. I'm almost being I don't want to read any more lists and go off of the list anymore because who the fuck voted on this and why? But yeah, and a book I'm excited to finish, Cicely Tyson's memoir. I've started on that. I took a break over Christmas. I need to finish it. But she has lived a lot of life. I haven't gotten to the parts where the real tea is, but all in good time. Another another book I am excited to start, but it's by an author that we've read before, Justine Ireland. So we actually read the Dread Nation duology. If you haven't read it yet, it's great. It combines Civil War racism and black people as zombie hunters, with also Native. It also alludes to the Native American correction schools. I don't know what they're actually called, but it's quote unquote correction schools. Yeah, boarding schools. But yeah, it's a fun ride. There's a few things I could critique about it, but it's still a fun book.
So in these books,
some of them are sequels. Rest in a Root isn't a sequel. It's just by the same author in kind of in the same kind of wheelhouse. So she mixes is historical fiction with some type of sci-fi or magical realism. So Dread Nation series, of course, is zombies and zombie hunters. Rest in a Root is people do different types of magic, and I believe the main character does a type of magic called mechomancy.
Is it mechomancy or mechomancy?
I do not know. I read the back of the cover a while ago. I did not reread it for the show.
So, but you specifically mentioned The World Remake. It's a sequel, so you want to So what is the world? Almost like the world that we became. Is it the world that we became?
It's the city we became.
The city we became. So what is So what's that world about?
I was going to get into that first, but we can start. So it's a reclaimed, and I call them reclaimed. I think somebody else has a different term for them, but I just call them reclaimed Lovecraftian cosmic horror. And basically that just means a person of color or a woman or anyone that H.G. Lovecraft himself would have despised touching his work. Reimagining it for it to be not as racist or sexist, or if it is showing racism or sexism, they are the bad guys. That's it. So, it is basically about, so it's basically about each city, when it comes into, I guess, its own or fruition and stuff, it has avatars that represent the city, and generally it has to fight against cosmic entities that are threatening to take over those cities. And New York, in the city we became, actually is unique in that each of the boroughs has an avatar, and in New York itself has an avatar. And the cosmic entity that they're fighting is actually gaining ground through gentrification. So it is a very unique spin on like telling like the gentrification story about New York, explaining like New York customs and stuff like that, and it's all through a black lens. N.K. Jemisin is an amazing writer. I loved her the 5th season trilogy, which is completely different. That one is more of high fantasy than like kind of like the Lovecraftian sci-fi cosmic horror. But the writing is still amazing.
Did we get through all of the? Because I only remember reading like one 5th season book.
I've gotten through all of them, and I thought you at least got the 2. I don't know if you've gotten to the 3rd one.
Yeah, I just got to wait because 5th season is because the first book of 5th season you find out is like told in that from those 3 different perspectives, and like the end of the first book is like where you realize that it's all the same perspective. It's all the same perspective.
That's spoilers for anybody who wanted to read it, but yes.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. So I can
yes. It's the 5th season, The Broken Earth, and then I can't remember. Oh, The Obelisk Gate. I've read all 3.
Oh yeah. So I'm waiting on audio. Let me see if they're out. We can go on.
I think all of them are out, and they've been out. You just kind of been like.
I've been on a detour. I've been diving through my schlocky points.
And then a book that I just recently heard about that I'm excited to read is called Moths by Jane Hennigan, and that one it reminds me of like Why the Last Man, but mixed with like Ren, Daughters of Mnemosyne. That's what it reminded me of. I'm not saying that that's what it was, but like from the description, I was like, is this just Ren, Daughters of Mnemosyne? But yeah.
You're not wrong, but I love the connection there. No, I love the connection that you made between like the description of the book that we heard earlier and Ren, Daughters of Mnemosyne. I just called it Mothman Apocalypse.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't seen Ren, Daughters of Mnemosyne, it's a fucking trip. It is very short, so that you can watch it in like 2 to 3 days. But it is a trip. And so I am also going to go through some of the books that I've enjoyed this previous year. I'm not going to like go through a summary of all of them. I'm just going to kind of like list them all, and then if I have something interesting to say about them as well. So like I actually really like Memphis by Tara Stringfellow. It's somewhat kind of out of my like wheelhouse. Is very much character driven, but there's no sci-fi or fantasy to kind of like move the background plot. But it was pretty good. I would say the ending I don't even know if it could like use any words. Like I think it's a strong ending. It's just as a character, like the character, I can understand what she went through, but I'm definitely team like don't forgive these niggas. So I disagreed with the character, but I can understand why she thought she had to quote unquote forgive. That's just my take. Another book that I like. I'm sorry, I keep like putting stuff, whatever. I really enjoyed was I'm Lying But I'm Telling the Truth by Basi Ifki. That one is a nonfiction memoir, and I found it interesting because it was told from the, point of view of the author who has bipolar disorder. And I feel like I still can't quite say like empathize, but like I definitely understand and sympathize more with people who have bipolar disorder, because especially to the degree that this author had, I can understand how that can be very debilitating. So I walked away with a very new understanding, and it was a page turner. And like there are a few memoirs that like kind of just like I stay up and just read through the night, and that was one of them because it was very interesting how it was told. Like it was unique. I liked it. Another book I really enjoyed. This is not a newer book. It's just the first time that I've read it. I Tituba by Maurice Condé. Of course, I read the like translated version, but just in general, like I really liked the telling of the Salem witch trial through the eyes of this black woman, which from
what language was it initially?
French.
Oh, it was in French.
Yeah. So it was really good. I liked it. I would recommend even people who aren't like fans of historical fiction. It's one of those things where it's like, because in this one they come from the standpoint of like not only is witchcraft real, but Tituba actually is one. Although like she doesn't call herself that because obviously that's like the white folks stupid stuff. But it was also kind of like she definitely made decisions for love that I don't make, and I'm sorry, but like she decided because she was free, like her parents died because I forgot what the like, or I'm trying not to spoil too much, but like her parents died earlier on in the book, and she is free and lives alone on an island and stuff, but she goes and commingles like with some of the other black people on the island, and this is like in the Caribbean, of course, because where she's from? Barbados, yeah. Originally she's from Barbados, but like yeah, she goes and she mingles with them every now and again, and she falls in love with this slave. I forgot his name. John. I forgot his name.
John Puritan.
No,
I know it's not John Puritan.
But like, yeah, and she decides that she loves him so much that she wants to like do a thing, and decides to go into slavery for this nigga. And I'm just like,
who wrote this?
It was a black woman that wrote this, but like they honestly think this probably like that part probably is for the time, because like, but I no, sweetie, is no way in hell I would have just sat there on that island by myself and not ever engaged. Like it's just no.
I'm gonna have to press F to download that other evidence. That's okay.
Yeah, that one was a lot, especially considering like this nigga was fucking useless when shit actually hit the fan, and then like she ended up being like, you know, sold afterwards because nigga like he's just like, you gotta, you know, he definitely cooned for the white folks just so he could be safe, which like she wasn't used to doing that because she was used to already being free. And I was just like, nah, this ain't it.
Yeah, like the actual story of like a bunch of what happens to Tituba, because like
yeah,
she spends 20 years in jail.
Oh yeah,
yeah, she spends 20 years in jail.
They
gets released and gets sold.
Yeah. And just like the fact that like this nigga was like not even trying to get her because he's like, well, I'm just going to I think he visited her like once or twice while she was in jail, and then, you know, she heard through the grapevine that he moved on with somebody else, and I'm like, you went into slavery for this nigga.
What do you mean by moved on? Because was Goody's mother still alive? Because he had because the guy that Tituba's master had a daughter, and because like in reality Tituba took the fall for making the witch cake for the daughter, at the daughter's request, and I can't. I really
Yeah,
do.
the book is fictionalized. I will say that. Like, but it has a lot of real history, and then like the rest of it is just kind of fictionalized. But the titular of the book made some questions, and like, don't get me wrong, she was told she was making questionable decisions because she was able to talk to her ancestors, and both of her ancestors like, for this nigga,
Baby,
for
what
real?
are you doing? What are you doing, baby? Please, no.
It was, yeah. So it was well written. No, like it was well written. I just was not gonna make the same, like I would not have made the same choices that Tituba made. And like even when she looked back at the end of the book, she was like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, fuck love. No niggas. Fuck men. And I'm just like, yeah, you would think that because like, you know, just I ain't gonna lie, like Jared, if you know, if you got sold into slavery and I was free, I'd skate by, maybe.
That isn't even the situation of the book. I don't. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot. That happened in the beginning, so yeah, that was a lot. Also really like The Secret Lives of Church Ladies.
Those were some vignettes.
Yeah, you only listened to like one.
I listened to a few of them when you were listening.
So The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. It sounds like you can't listen to it with an actual church lady. Please don't. They were some very spicy vignettes. I appreciated them, but they the title was definitely misleading. I happened to just put it on because I was like, I don't know. I heard it was good. That was one where it's just like I like on the list or one of those lists I was talking about that actually did turn out well. It was on the list and I was like, well, not really like, you know, into like the type of, because I thought it was going to be like some Tyler Perry, like whatever, but I was like, well, maybe it's good, whatever. And I put it in the background at work, and luckily I listen to all of my stuff at work through headphones because had I not had headphones on and that first story came across, I'd have a lot of explaining to do.
Was that the first or the second story?
That was the first story.
Yeah.
That was the first story. And so The Secret Lives of Church Ladies is by like Desha Filia. I don't know how to actually pronounce her last name, but that was a book. That was a book. I think there was only like one vignette that fell flat, and it wasn't even that it was bad. It was just that all of the other ones were so great and interesting that like the one just good one just came across as basic. And like that means it's a really good book. But yeah, there it is an anthology. It's short.
Fucking Tuesday, innit?
It is fucking Tuesday. But yeah, so Secret Lives of Church Lady is a rated R book. This, you know,
D,
not for the Sunday.
D, you should listen, read, go look up The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Like,
oh yeah, Jared listened to the first story in the
I'm
anthology.
also just saying it because like D is churched, so
yeah. So don't listen to it with an actual church lady, cause yeah.
Oh, Ryan! Hey, how's it going? It's nice to see you. It's been a while.
So yeah, that's a really good book. Another book that I really enjoyed, although I will say yes, the ending was kind of.
All right. So I have thoughts on this one. So I see the next book churn out. It's called The Midnight Library. Who wrote this one? By Matt Haig. Matt Haig.
It was good.
All right, it was entertaining. Let's leave it at that. Oh, not leave it at that. We'll start there. It was entertaining. So the basic, it is a book about appreciating life.
Yes.
And it's written very much as a book for someone that is recovering from not appreciating their life without giving too much away. Trigger warnings before reading the book. It's about suicide. And about how that is.
So you could say part of it because it's like it's said on the back of the book. It's not that much of a spoiler, but like at the beginning of the book, it is a woman. This is a very like loose kind of fantasy sci-fi, but like it starts off with a woman trying to commit suicide. But instead of dying, she ends up in this place called the Midnight Library. And the Midnight Library contains tomes of other lives, and she gets to experience lives in different, like if she had made different choices throughout life.
Hi, Fubu King. Yes,
hello.
Yes. We're talking about books, books we enjoyed over the last year.
Yes. And the one that we were just talking about is Matt Haig's Midnight Library. I think it's a good one for most people to read. Like it is.
It's a very hopeful book. Like
Yes.
I did have fun with it. I enjoyed it. I'm kind of like I'm not even really teasing it. Like I enjoyed it, but it's very. The ending is, I wouldn't say like almost afternoon specialist. Like, look at the roses, smell them, appreciate life for what it is. But like, it's the type of book that it's meant to be.
That, and like also, you know how like our English teachers always told us to like also think of the lives of the person that wrote it. Considering that Matt Haig himself suffers with depression, I think that is the book that he needed to write for himself to remind himself that life is worth living.
Yeah, like it's very much a book for an author.
Yes.
And it's a good ride. Like I like the internal fiction of like how the worlds are entered and exited and all that kind of stuff. So,
and if you're a philosophy head, there are a lot of philosophical like quotes and like references in the book. Like he references a lot of like philosophy people. So
yeah, because the author, not the author, the main character is an English graduate. No.
And her main life, I think, she majored in philosophy or something.
Yeah, she majored in philosophy. What was the name of the record store? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because the record store was also, I can't remember the reference was a philosophical reference or a Shakespearean reference. It was one of the two. But it was really cute. I actually really liked that one.
Yeah. So, it's a good book, and it has wibbly wobbly time stuff, but it's just very loose. They don't try to explain any type of science thing. Don't look for it for that.
No,
it is a construct to move the story, and that's it. So very, very like loose, or like not strict sci-fi.
Got any more on yours?
I do. And this is a multi-pager, like the books that I like reading.
I would be disappointed. I don't know if I'd be disappointed if like you bought a one-page book, but all right.
Look, I'm not saying I like it because it made me happy. I was
it's a good book. Like if you want a book for tea, this next one is
yeah. So the next book on the list that I really enjoyed is not the right word, but like I flew through this book. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy.
Say that again. Sorry.
All right, so the next book that like is on my list that like was really kind of impactful or a good book, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. By the end of the book, I was also glad her mom died. Talk about trauma. Like, I didn't know there were so many different ways to traumatize a child without like beating them to death.
Yeah, and this is because I was outside of the Disney Nickelodeon sphere by the time Jeanette McCurdy was really on TV. She was on iCarly.
Yes, iCarly and Sam and Cat, and the only reason I know is because like I had younger cousins that were into it because it's like I was still kind of out of that age too. But looking back at that show now, like knowing, like after reading that book, she's not happy. Like just all of that in context, it's just like, yeah. It's like, even now, it's just like, what really gets me about that is during the show, like the character Sam Puckett had a very rough relationship with her mom. It almost makes me feel like the producer was like making fun of her situation, but like also had like would like binge everything. And if you like read the book, you know that Jeanette McCurdy struggles with, at the time, anorexia, and then later on bulimia. Yeah, no,
I look, one, I very much was not into iCarly to the point like all of this is news to me.
Oh yeah,
that's
like
fucking wild.
Yeah, like if you, cause like I mean I knew the character as him, and it's like yeah, but it was like the relationship with the mom, and like the iCarly universe is different from her relationship with the mom, but it's still a bad relationship. And then like the fact that like the character was so focused on eating when Jeanette McCurdy herself was so focused on not eating, like it just feels like the producer was just like picking at her, like I don't know, what's the reverse Truman Show type shit. It was not like, you look back at that stuff and it's just like, yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong, the producer is horrible for other reasons if you like heard the allegations, but just even with just that, like even if you haven't heard those other allegations, just like the shit alone that like kind of just was going through that show was just not great. So
I can like, because I remember like the row that came out around why wasn't what was her name's not Sam, what was her name of the show? Something Puckett, right?
Yeah, Sam. It was Sam Puckett.
Yeah, there's like a row like, why isn't Sam coming back for the reunion and all this stuff.
Yeah, she quit acting because it was like, A, it wasn't something that she really wanted to do, and then B, considering even though they like the new iCarly reboot has nothing to do with like the original producer and those directors and everything else, I can just still imagine that like kind of being in an environment where you're like trying to play that same character cannot be good for your mental health. And she's like really just healing, because like at the end of the book it was like she had finally accepted like the stuff that's going on, so going back into that show so soon probably would not have been great for her. So
that make like, from the bits of it like that you let me hear, because like she narrates that book. That book's narrated by her.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the bit of it that like I listened to with you, and like now knowing all of this other stuff about it, fuck. Fuck, yo, that's a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a book to read. It has all of the trigger warnings. Like I don't know how to describe, like, to be completely honest, most of the books up here have like some type of trigger warning if you know you're trying to be careful. So like yeah, that one, it is definitely worth reading. I would say be cautious, because a lot of people who have like eating disorders and stuff, they did say that her graphic detailing about it, while she is just trying to express what she was going through, some people have felt the like call back to that after reading. So I would say be cautious if you have previous history with eating disorders.
There was something else that I looked at or experienced that was like at least sort of similar to that. God, because I can't remember if it was a book or a show that I was watching. It's like, no, this is more or less what an anxiety attack feels like.
Oh yeah, that was Song of Rapes and Ruins.
Right. Did we do Rapes and Ruins? No, I think Rapes and Ruins
on there, but that should have been up there.
I think that was the year before.
No, I thought it was this. I thought it was earlier this year.
It may have been.
It may have been. It's been a while, but like that one is a good one. I like how it explains anxiety in that book.
It does a good job. It does a really good job in written and in audio form. It like explaining sort of that physiological sense of like slowly drowning that is an anxiety attack. Good stuff. Not fun to do while you're driving.
Yep. Next on my list is Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Ninja Lover Tawab. I just think that was impactful because I thought I was setting boundaries before, and then I realized no, I was not setting boundaries. I still have issues with that, but I at least understand better of what a boundary is. We're just gonna go and skip.
We're gonna go and just walk right by the rest of that one.
Yep.
What is it like to set a boundary? Like, we don't have to get into the details of what your boundaries are like, but like, what does it mean for all the beautiful people out there? What does it mean to set a boundary?
So setting a boundary isn't controlling other people's behaviors. It is giving them a consequence for a behavior you say that is not acceptable to you. So like anything that like impacts you and stuff, you set a boundary. Like you're saying like, okay, I don't like when you do this, so if you do this, I will leave. That is setting a boundary. And then actually leaving after you said you will leave is setting a boundary.
Following through.
Yep. So that whole second half part, that's the part I wasn't doing. So You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey by Amber Ruffin.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one was it's hilarious. Now, I do have a book that I read the year before, but I feel like because I like mentioned that book that I should also mention that. In that same vein, Trevor Noah's Born to Cry. These like late night host comedians write a damn memoir because both of them were really good. And they were like, I don't understand how you can make something traumatic funny, but they figured out how. Because you would laugh and then you would think like, oh shit, that's fucked up.
Like, it's sort of a spoiler, but like it's a combination of Trevor Noah and his mother herself making getting shot in the head funny, and that is still probably like one of the wildest, probably like mic drop moments in a book that I've experienced.
Yeah, like Trevor Noah's mom survived. Like she got shot.
I didn't say who got shot in the head. I just said they made getting shot in the head funny.
But like to make it not feel as like nihilistic.
Oh,
yeah.
I was trying to tease it so people would go out and explore it for themselves.
Anyways,
someone gets shot in the head, and at the end of it, you're gonna.
She makes the joke about her getting shot in the head. So yeah. But yeah. And now for the last
before we do that, can I talk about books that I liked last year?
Oh, sure.
And the books I'm looking forward to. I want to be part of the fun.
Okay.
So, books I enjoyed last year. So like I kind of said at the top, I have been going back through a number of the 40k books that I like. So Warhammer 40k recently has like had a big shift in its lore, and the fact that like its universal lore is moving forward instead of just being stuck at like what they call 2 minutes to midnight for perpetuity. So I've been kind of hopping around the series of like going back to the beginning prequel of it and like reading that because I never made it very far in it, and I want to like get this baseline because like a lot of these things that happen at the very beginning of the story, of course, reverberate and have effects on like how the story ends. And then I've been listening to podcasts for some time, particularly shout out to the Independent Characters and Masters of the Forge podcast, or 40K podcast. They talk about and interview authors from the series, and they had been interviewing this one author by the name of Aaron Dembski Bowden, and I had not experienced any of his books before, and I listened to I do audiobooks because I said the ADHD monster won't let me read. I've tried, unfortunately it won't let me anymore. I can read manga, but audiobooks are basically everything. So I listened to obviously it's book 1 of the Black Legion series, which is called Talon of Horus, and it's a wonderful combination of I think it's a really good story, because it's an antagonist perspective story. So like, you know that these bad guys, these chaos space marines that are these raving war bands that loot and plunder and just aim to destroy and bring about the dark gods. And it's a book told from their perspective, which is something that we so rarely get. And it provides this perspective on like what is chaos in the universe, like what does it mean to harness the power of demons, what does it mean to basically live in hell constantly. And God, I quoted it in a Discord.
I was gonna say, you sure it's not just Dante?
So it has some rhymes of it, but like they're not fighting to get out of hell, and at least the sane amongst them do have a cause, and they have a grievance against the emperor on Earth of like why they are continuing what they call the long war.
I want a good line, you know what that means?
And I want to find this quote because it's probably one of my favorite quotes that I read in this last year. Let's see. I'm almost there. Here it is. So the quote itself was, "We are alone in this galaxy, alone with our ancestors' nightmares. The gods do not hate us. They do not scream for our destruction. They are us. They are our sins coming home to the hearts that gave them life. We are the gods, and the hells we have made are our own." And it's probably like one of my favorite things, and like the performance of the book itself in the audiobook form is really good, because like it starts off explaining like the setting of like the person that you're doing, and it's someone that has turned themselves over to this super powerful organization called the Inquisition, and he's being held captive, and he's there to send a message, and he's there saying like the war is coming to your doorstep now, and I'm here just to be a what's it called? I'm here to be a messenger of the end that is to come to you, and I'm here to tell you why it's coming for you. And this man chews the scenery of everything. I love it so much. So that one's probably like, that is probably the best Black Library book that I've read this last year. And then other than that, I've also been going through the Titan's Kane series of novels, which is a parody series, if you could really frame it as such. Like it's not like it's meant to be kind of funny and kind of lighthearted, looking at like the absurdity of the universe if a more rationally minded person was at the helm of like the story that's going forward.
So I'm gonna translate it for the people. You know the dude that at the end of what's it? Not Quantumania, the first one.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
The dude that explains. Oh, in Ant-Man. The dude that explains Ant-Man back to you, but like and funny to like regular people.
Yes.
The Caiaphas Kane series, I'm guessing, is like that version.
No. But
okay.
No. Like I can see where it would sound like that, because it's not explained in the story too, because it's still very much a perspective of the story. But like it's a perspective in contrast to the normal setting. It's basically, I was just holding it to have something in my hands. It's a perspective in contrast to like your normal perspective, because like everyone else in the universe is very stone based, very honorable, very stoic. That was the word I was looking for. But he gives off the outer appearance of it, of being a stoic hero, because like the first compendium of the books is called the Hero of the Imperium. The second group is called the Defender of the Imperium. and they're like telling him about these different points in his life, but it's his internal memoir. So he's being very honest about, like, I was afraid, I did this to stay behind people, I was trying to be a coward, I was doing this, that, and the third, to be self-aggrandizing and all of this stuff to take advantage of like the absurdity of this world that's around me. But because 40K, they're like, oh no, but you're the greatest hero of them all, and we're gonna elevate you up and above and beyond. So that's like my fun, lighthearted break book. I use that to like get away from like how dark and dour basically everything else is. And then I guess like my next lighthearted series is lighthearted but exhausting. Charnel got me into Redwall. So I started listening to the Redwall series for the first time. And Redwall is good. I enjoy Redwall. Redwall is long. I don't got a whole lot else to say about Redwall. Brian Jacques, the author, is the main narrator, and he is very Scottish. That's probably like the most of what I can say about it. Like he's super Scottish, and he does an amazing narration, and I love every bit of it. It's a full BBC production cast. It has like music and shit between chapters and parts. It is amazing.
Yeah, and there is going to be some new Redwall media coming out, so if you want to read it before it comes out, it'd be great. Catch up. Why not? And then if you are not a regular, like, because these books are toned. Like, I remember the actual physical books, they're toned.
And the audiobook of Redwall, the shortest one is 13 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's also a graphic novel that you can read that might be like more interesting to at least get you into the series. So,
other than those, there are the books that we listened to and read together. Oh, there's one book that I really like. If you didn't put on the list, the Dapper Dan novel.
That's because that was in 2021.
Oh, well then, excuse me.
But
The Dapper Dan book
good
is really good.
It is an extremely good memoir. Like, a lot of the memoirs that I have read have been really good. There are a few that like I am reading them for like their substance, but they're not like page turners. And by that I mean Wes Moore's memoir. It's good-ish, but it's like no, it's a different type of good. It is very much a vegetable if books are vegetables. Whereas like Dapper Dan's memoir feels like it could be a fiction, but you know it's not.
Yeah. No.
That and Diamond Doris's.
Oh my god, I forgot about Diamond Doris. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Between Diamond, I like Dapper Dan's more because Dapper Dan's story ends up being a little happier, if you can call it that. But there's a listener bonus if you are a fan of A$AP Ferg. A$AP Ferg sings about some experiences that he had with his family. And in the Dapper Dan novel, you will hear what was happening and why.
Because apparently Dapper Dan is
His uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dapper Dan is A$AP Ferg's uncle.
And also, like, people give Dapper Dan his flowers while he's still here because he is an important part of hip hop.
Can you turn the music down? It's kind of competing with you guys. Sure.
I told you. Yeah. But Dapper Dan is like a really important figure in hip hop, and his story is interesting. Like I said, like his memoir, you can fly through that like reading a fiction book. It is that interesting. The man has lived a damn life, several lives. Like, I don't know how, but like he has lived several lives, and like also because he is at that like really interesting intersection of like moving right after because like I'm also forever reading what's the other book by Isabel Wilkerson? In Search of Other Suns, I believe, or something like
The
that.
Warmth of Other Suns.
Yeah, The Warmth of Other Suns. There we go. The Warmth of Other Suns, which talks about like the Great Black Migration from like the South and stuff. The interesting part about that is Dapper Dan's early life intersected with like the Great Migration, and then like of course he's lived from like that like tail end of Great Migration to like the start and pinnacle of hip hop, and like he's still living now, and like even has come back around to like, you know, a lot of these big luxury brands were suing him for using their IP, and to especially Gucci, to the point where now like Gucci realized, because especially after they like took one of his designs and sent it down the runway, like the fact that it was a 20 or 30-year-old design at that point and they had just sent it down the runway is like showing how behind they were. But the fact that they had sent one of his designs down the runway and realized like after they got called out that he, even though he like quote unquote took his IP, like he really influenced them, he's now I forgot how they describe it, but he is an atelier, a sponsored atelier for Gucci now. And like that is definitely like just a 180. Like it is very, and he gets through all of that in the book, but it is just like very interesting to see how much of that like has come into fruition. So his life spans a lot of like large moments in history. So I would say that's a really good book to read.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that's all the ones that like I really enjoyed getting through last year. I didn't do a count on it. I know in just 40K novels alone, I've listened to I made it through 4K novels plus various short stories and stuff like that. I made it through 4 Horus Heresy books. I didn't finish Mossflower of the Year, so I finished through 1 Redwall book. I hope someone's doing math because I'm saying numbers and I'm not keeping track. I think it's 4, 8, 9, and then what was that other? Oh yeah, because we did tomorrow while on Christmas break. So we'll talk. We'll dive into it in a minute. I'm just making my count. So that's 10 books. There are more, but I read more than 10 books last year. What? Where?
You tried.
What do you mean by I tried? I got through 10 books. Most people don't read books. I'm doing better.
I'm trying not to sound like the parents that be like, well, if most people drove off a cliff, you gonna drive off a cliff. Anyway,
I was trying to be proud of myself. Damn.
You should be proud.
No, my achievements are shit. No, let's see, but stuff I'm looking forward to this year. I didn't realize I had more of the Broken Earth series to like go through, so I have the next Broken Earth book in my list. I'm excited for. All right, so I don't think we did the City We Became last year. I think we did that one in 2021. But I'm excited for an audio production to come out for the City We Became, because
it's already an audio production for the City We Became.
Sorry, the World We Make. The City We Became's audio production is really good. I'm excited for when that one gets its production.
And I will say it's probably already made. Just haven't.
I'll go look for it a little bit. Let's see. Looking for the World We Make. I'm waiting for. I don't think that book is coming out this year. So I am caught up on the Inquisitor series. It's a trilogy of trilogies, and I'm waiting for the 3rd book of the latest trilogy. But I also found out that there is a interstitial book that I haven't read. And I am going to listen to that. I forgot that I had already bought all of the Horus Heresy books and all of what it's called the Indomitus era, which is the modern 40k era. I own all of those books already. Thanks Humble Bundle. So I don't have to use my Audible credits on, like, I think I have like 30 some odd books to get through. So I kind of double bought, I think, 3 of the books so far. I think I double bought like 3 of the books in the Horus Heresy, but then I was going through my Humble Bundle. I was like, Voices of Heresy. Wait, did I? I did.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go through. I'm excited to get further into that. I know I'm kind of out of what everyone considers the good part of the Horus Heresy books, but I know I at least want to get to what's called the Burning of Prospero, and that links more directly into the book that I'm listening to right now, which is called into the Black Legion books. So I know you're not good at sci-fi, like by audio, but I kind of want you to hear like just a few of the sections from it, like not even for like the content but for the performance. Because like there's this sort of extended dream sequence that like the main character of the Black Legion book goes through. It's so good. Like it's a very for what it's worth, it's a very emotional scene in the 40k book by like this superhuman horde. So I'm excited for that. There's actually a lot of good stuff in the Indominus books. So I'm excited to get through those. Is there anything else new that I'm really looking forward to? I think that's kind of it. I hate that, like, I'm basically like stuck, like I'm just reading Black Library right now, but I haven't gotten tired of it. But I guess like I need to eat my vegetables and listen to some other stuff and listen to some stuff that isn't necessarily in my wheelhouse. I do want to give other people's fiction a try. But it's that weird thing for me because like I have such a deep knowledge of like the universe that these stories are in. It deepens the investment in those stories, and kind of anything else it struggles for depth. So I guess like the next closest thing I could maybe get into might be The Expanse.